Welcome to our first bonus episode, our Q&A with Sheffield Doc Fest in 2 parts. This is part 1 and available on the Sheffield Select platform with your ticket to our film. Before we start today, I want to ask you to please rate and review our podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen. We work very hard on bringing you the truth about this terrible cult and Shoko Asahara. Please support us with a few minutes of your time. Thank you. We will be releasing the second bonus episode where we can ask Cynthia many questions about her festival soon. And then back to regular programming.
警視庁発急長官内調査方警視庁から中央
上の措置をもって自局を収集せんと欲しい。
If you are a victim, you're a victim. You're not a journalist.
そうですね、来るべきものが来てるんじゃないでしょうか。
I'm Atsushi Sakahara. I'm a filmmaker based in Kyoto, Japan. And I am a victim and survivor in the sarin gas attack back in 1995 in Tokyo.
And I'm Pearl Chan. I'm a film and birth worker based in Hong Kong.
Hello, welcome to Sheffield Doc Fest 2020. I'm Cintia Gil, festival director, and we are here for a Q&A of Me and the Cult Leader that is having its world premiere with us. And we have Atsushi Sakahara, and the filmmaker, the director of Me and the Cult Leader, and Pearl Chan, who is the sales for the film. So welcome, everyone. And thank you for being with us. And congratulations for the film. Atsushi, your film was really impressive to us. Not just because it's a very courageous first film. It is a film that chooses a very specific form, which is the form of conversation and traveling, the movement, you know, as a way of reaching out to a certain kind of connection between two people. But before we go to that, I would like you to tell us very shortly a little bit about your background and why you felt you wanted to make this film.
Because, you know, there are many ways to explain it, but I wanted to face it. I wanted to overcome it. Considering my background, I'm a victim. I was in the car and I inhaled the sarin gas. I'm still with the severe post effect. And then also, you know, totally coincidentally, my ex-wife used to be a member of the cult. And 6 years ago, when I started developing this project, you know, I thought, if I want to make a film, it has to be directed only by me. And it has to be a film, meaning it cannot be a shot as a TV documentary. It has to be very personal work. And, you know, then I decided to, you know, come up with this film idea. And that was 6 years ago, 2014. So I contacted Aleph, and Hikari no Wa is another offspring, to discuss about interview or documentary.
And so you met the character of your film because he was not one of the perpetrators of the sarin attack in Tokyo, but he belongs to the cult, right?
Right. I wish I could meet the one who did it. You know, I went to the, how do I say, detention center? Is that how you say? I went to the detention center, and then I left a chocolate as a gift to the person who put the sarin gas in my subway. I wanted to get in touch with him. And I did all the efforts to meet those people or to communicate with those people. But in Japanese law and the constitution, you know, they don't allow me to do that. So my option was him.
But it's very interesting. It's very interesting because now before we have this Q&A, you were telling me that your background is economy, philosophy, and now you did your first film. And one of the things that struck me in your film is the fact that you are a victim of the sarin gas attacks in Tokyo subway in the 90s. But your film is a lot more, it also touches on that, of course, on the violence, but it's also a lot about what makes a person withdraw from society and what makes a person want to live away from the social organization, right, between humans. And you seem to have a kind of fascination for that, but also a kind of very critical approach to that, where you really want to understand what goes on that person's mind to take such a decision. And it's beautiful because you do that with the travel. So I would like to know if this interest is related only to this cult. What is this interest coming from? Because there's a direct link in your film between withdrawing from society and then aggressing society, right? Like perpetrating a violence against society. What is your take on this?
Could you explain it? I'm sorry, I couldn't very
I can explain better.
Yes.
In your film, you start from asking your character, from trying to understand what makes a person want to go away from society. And then suddenly we arrive to the moment, especially when he meets your parents and then the other people and the memorial, we arrive to a moment when the violence against society is confronted. Although you already said, and you talk about that violence comes after we understand why he decided to move away from society, right?
Yes.
What is your impression on this? Why did you feel that understanding these reasons was important for your film?
For my film, okay. But maybe before I become a filmmaker, I am very curious about the person, where they come from. The most influential book I read for that attitude is, I still remember, back in 1995, I have a senior alum from college. He's a politician. I went to see him for advice. And he says, Atsushi, you should run for office. I said, no. Then on my way back, I found a book by Elie Wiesel, like a Holocaust survivor, Night. And then also another book by Elie Wiesel, it's the, I don't know, about dialogue with François Mitterrand. The very first line I still remember is he says, we Jews are very concerned about where the person is coming from, okay? Diamond, like a boy in his mind, whisper, you, all the time. That shapes who you are. I still remember the first line, right? So maybe that has strong influence on me. I always wanted to know who is his boy in his mind, in his heart, who whispers where he will go, right? So I was very curious about people in general. That's number one. Also, number two, I think I spent 1 year to convince them. So I made many visits to the headquarters or facility they live. Because Hiroshi cannot give a permission by himself. I have to convince other executive members, right? So I spent so much time listening to their story. I still remember the moment one of the executives told me, maybe comparing with the other directors, you are not so much so interested in the pictures of Asahara or those things. You are always asking me where you are from, who you love, who is, what family you are, and always, that was not very compliment for me. Oh, I'm not so visual as a film director. But I am very curious about the person and where the person is come from, you know. So that's a natural direction I went to in this film.
Mm-hmm. And why you chose the form of the travel, right, for your film?
Yes, correct. Yes, correct.
With trains, and
Yes.
of course it's connected to the history of I imagine the history of you being in a train and suffering an attack. That at least in my head I made that connection, but it's also a very philosophical form, because
Yes.
travel movement is also the movement of thoughts and the movement
Yes.
of the friendship, right?
Yes, yes.
How did you prepare that? Because who is filming? Because the feeling that we have is that the camera is yours, you are filming, but you are not many times. So
Right.
how did you build this?
That was, you know, I did the pilgrimage. This is the pilgrimage structure, okay? Japanese pilgrimage, Hendo pilgrimage are the whole 4 components of the whole pilgrimage, okay? That's about the same Western 3-act structure. Act 1, first act 2, second act 2, and third act, correct? So I learned that I prepared, if I go through a certain milestone, that will squeeze the story out of our experience. And of course, I have to prepare delicately, you know, and I have to calculate what I have to talk in which stage. But to be honest, I don't know much about documentary. I thought about writing. One way of writing is maybe not, you know, Hollywood style, you know, but it's a writing by number. You know what time it comes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have and also because of the budget constraint, I am a new director. I don't have a luxury to keep shooting for a long time. I wanted to get it done, like let's say 10 days. Then we find the answer, right? Then budget-wise, it's reliable, right? So within that constraint, I go this way and go this way, and also, yeah, that's how I came up. And then I structured also when I did the pilgrimage, one of my friend monk who I respected well, told me, I don't say it in film, but he says like land has a power. So I am facing one of the most, the grandest crime in Japan alone. I need the power from the land. So I visit my homeland, I visit his homeland, maybe the power in his homeland will help me. So you see that I brought him up to the mountain. I cornered him logically. That's very holy mountain in Japan. That is a mountain like known as with the headquarters of one of the old Buddhist school, and they have the headquarters temple. So actually, Hiroshi was not so happy to go there. You know, it's like, yeah, that's how I did.
Was he not so happy?
Yeah, because in the beginning, when we were heading, he was okay. I started talking about maybe we would spit to the history of Buddhism in Japan, correct? You see, that mountain in Japan, we call in the Japanese classical literature, only that mountain. We don't have to tell the name, that mountain. Then we had a conversation on the riverbank, that river. So it's, we say it's the mountain, that mountain, meaning it's very holy, very, very symbolic mountain for us. In the morning, he was happy, but on our way, you know, he started, maybe making some excuse not to go there, you know. But no, we go, you know.
It's really about facing our choices, right? Facing our
Yes.
lives. And again, how did you build the structure for the shooting? Because you are recording sounds, right?
No.
In the shooting?
No, I didn't do. I am a director. It was I have a DP, cameraman, and then also another cameraman, two cameraman, one sound person, and the volunteer students who are helping me. Some maybe 3, 4, 5 students are helping me. Now they're journalists, you know. So.
Yeah. And how did you build that? Because again, I felt that the camera was very, very personal. It was as if you were filming, because it was really completely, I mean, the form of the movement was also followed by the form of the shooting, you know?
That was very challenging, very challenging. I have a very good DP. I worked with my short with him. Mm-hmm. He is teaching, he's senior than I am. He's like mentoring me all the time, and he's the one who gathered all the crews for me. And he asked me, how would you do that? It was very difficult because I'm the director in front of the camera. So I asked him, okay, I don't know, no concrete reason. I still cannot explain why I said that, but maybe, you know what, how can I say? Put my shoulder in the frame. Do it, and I trust you. And then you can do that. Otherwise, it was so challenging production. He is alive, Hiroshi is like a live animal. One night is like, he had to go back to Tokyo. Government officials raided the facility. I have to let him go once, and then he come back. He's good enough. But so it's like how can I say? With the implicit agreement, we did the choreography. All the people did it, like my DP, and I cannot discuss about how to do right in front of Hiroshi.
Yeah.
And the challenge of this production is this is going concern. Right now, it's going on. It's not looking back the past and we can control and then we can question. So it was hard, but basically my DP did a fabulous job.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a choreography. That's what's amazing and striking in your film. And it looks a choreography that is completely coherent with what you are looking for, which is really impressive. And
thank you.
The end of the film is very, very powerful. When you, after the memorial, after the journalists and the interviews, where he kind of falls in himself, the journalists pressure him a little bit for some kind of an act of repentance. And then you enter in a taxi and you say, you didn't really apologize, did you? And he says, no. And then it ends with another question from you, which it's just black. For me, that end, I must say, really, really struck me. Like, I felt that you were returning the film upside down and ending the film with a major question about it that will never be answered. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on how you decided to end the film like this?
To have that ending, I need a two component. One is 6 years to come to that ending. Two is my co-producer, Paul Chang. She came up with an idea. So I'm not like a, big time director. Oh, I know film, don't tell me what to do. I always welcome the idea. So Paul came up with the idea. We could have more footage after that moment, but meaning even if we show it, but it's the same, meaning same Araki. And then what is the ending that could put the most impact was that ending. It's like I had some idea like that, but somehow I couldn't verbalize and I couldn't say it, I know, when you create it. And then Paul came with that idea. Oh, that's what, okay, let's go, That's how
it came.
Yes.
Do you want to help us here? Because the feeling is that what you're doing in the end, after he says he's sorry, after he faces the journalists and the memorial, in the end, what the film is saying is this will never be resolved, and there is no easy way to close this. There is no, there is not one answer that will close everything. Did you think about this when you had that idea? What was your...
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to give credit to our editor because this film has had so many renditions. Our editor is Junko Watanabe, and she really helped to formulate the film into what it is now. And choosing this ending was a discussion between all of us. And it's actually one that took a little bit of a back and forth to decide on, but I think it was a really strong ending because that is really the culmination of the entire film, right? It's the entire time, all Atsushi wants really is for this person to be on the same page, basically, for like as a victim of anything, you sort of want your perpetrator to be like, yes, I understand you, I know where you're coming from. Like that is the tenet of restorative justice, and like what is going to heal you in the moment, I think, is being told, I hear you. And so the crux of the film is really like, do you hear me? The question really is, do you hear me? And the answer is no, I do not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it could not have been more clear.
Yeah. So I didn't mention that Junko did a fabulous job too. I've been struggling. First, I had another editor. Then I had to dismiss, and I did it. I cut it by myself. I'm not good, I know. And then we brought in Junko. And then I remember when I saw Junko's work, this is the feeling I had right after finished the shooting, right, Paul? So I always looked for the truthfulness to me, who was in front of the camera,
Mm-hmm.
And that was my challenge, as a filmmaker for this. You know what? During the production, I was sitting in the trial as an observer or for the last fugitive. And I spent the time in the morning with other victims and widows, and they never say a word to me, with some exceptions, They know what I'm doing, right? Because I did the crowdfunding, and what do you think, like, I did that for 3 months. That was that put so much pressure on me. And also around the time I published a book with a dialogue book with Araki's former boss, who was expelled by Araki. And then he runs another sect another sect called Hikari no Wa. And I listened to his story in the book. So I was telling him that he should not be in mass media anymore. Who else do you want to tell about your story, right? And what he was arguing back. And then he says, like, Atsushi, if you release your film, some young people will join on for that. That was his challenge to me. So I became very, very seriously to make sure this film is not going to help them to find a new members.
Mm-hmm.
That became deadly serious matter for me, correct? Because I sat among those, and that changed who I am completely. I became more tougher on Araki, knowing the situation, because I'm just one of the victims. I don't know other victims. I don't know what they suffer. I don't know the situations, So Yeah, that was a challenge, but that changed me quite a bit. And so, but if I go for that direction too much as a film, it's not very enjoyable. It's too tough. If I select the scenes, I'm very tough on him. It doesn't make a good film. So, and then also technically, I don't know how can put those scenes, in the film well. I'm not technically good, not good. So, Junko did everything for that, for me.
Would you say,
Yeah.
we will have to finish, but would you say, will you want to continue the conversation with Araki?
If he does, but he will probably not.
He wouldn't.
He wouldn't. I'm happy because you see, I don't know. It depends on the person. I don't want to generalize and I cannot generalize, but I'm the one who is about to be killed randomly. I think with that experience, I become a person who wants to believe good in humans. I don't give up. I want to listen to, I want to see he changes. He would like to change, that's okay. Maybe I can be very hard on him again, but as trying to hope, I hope I can help him, but I don't think he would start talking to me. That is another aspect of this film. Many people thought that I can go to another sequel. I want to go. I have never had any intention to go for sequel. I just want to make it sure this is the end. So that's why, if I'm a journalist, for living, I want to make sure that I can come back to him. He is one of the sought after figure in Japan, correct? To be interviewed, right? No, I don't have that intention. This is it. This is the work. Nothing more. Done.
Well, I hope we can see other films from you.
Thank you.
And I want to congratulate you. It was really it is an incredibly courageous and inspiring film.
Thank you.
I felt it is a film that, although it deals with extremely difficult questions, it is never turned into a court or a tribunal against someone. And that is really touching, how you give the space for us to also understand the other and to understand the violence and to understand each point of view. So yes, congratulations and thank you so much for premiering Doc Fest. And I hope we can celebrate this in person somewhere and sometime. But until now, I invite everyone to discover me and the Cult Leader.
Thank you. And please come to Kyoto too.
Thank you.
Please come. Yeah. Thank you. And it is my great honor to have a world premiere at your festival. Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please listen and subscribe wherever you listen. Review and ratings helps other people find us. Thank you for listening.